The time is at hand.
From Williamson, West Virginia, the gateway to the crackheads, this is In Dark Places. Last time I mentioned that hantavirus thing. You heard about the hantavirus? Am I saying that right? I don't know. I don't watch the news, so I don't know how to pronounce it, and I don't know what they're saying, but I hear that the news guys are all over this, and they're trying their best to spread fear, just like with last time. And people seem to be eating it up. How quickly we forget. People didn't learn from their mistakes. But I've got some numbers for you. You like numbers, don't you? The numbers don't lie. The odds of dying from hantavirus are 1 in 30 million. The odds of dying from a lightning strike is 1 in 15 million. The odds of dying in a car accident, 1 in 8,000. The odds of dying from medical error, 1 in 1,000. So what does that tell you? Anyway, I hope you're doing okay out there. Hope you're not scared. I'm still getting caught up from the Appalachian UFO reports. I did March a couple of days ago. Today I'm doing April. There were 11 sightings in March in the Appalachian area, and in April there was 3. I don't know what happened. Maybe a lot of rain or something. People couldn't see it. But these are UFO reports from the National UFO Reporting Center. Thanks as always, Peter Davenport. Barnesville, Pennsylvania, April 11th, 2026, at about 4 p.m. I am a private security guard. Last week, nearing 11 p.m. Eastern Time, near a construction site in Barnesville, Pennsylvania, during a cloudy, dark night, I witnessed a white or off-white orb quickly descend from the clouds in a perfectly straight, slow, and controlled line into the night sky. The orb gave very little to no radiant light and did not seem to reflect any light, but seemed as if it was itself made of a dim, solid, light-like material. It hovered perfectly in place for about a second or two. At this point, my partner, who was in their vehicle next to me, was alerted to the sighting, but did not look quickly enough to see it. The object performed a wiggle or wave-like movement, and within a second of doing so, ascended back into the clouds on the same path it took during the descent. Shortly after this sighting, the other guard left the area and called me to inform me that individuals had pulled inverted on the side of the road nearby and were possibly witnesses to the event, as they were outside of their vehicles and looking around the area. Then, yesterday, April 11th, at around 4 o'clock, the other guard was visiting a local shop when the clerk said that an orb of the same type had fallen out of the clouds and performed a similar maneuver around that time. They said someone in the marked vehicle came into the shop shortly thereafter and began asking questions regarding telephone communications, infrastructure, and atmospheric conditions of the area. Something is going on here, but I don't know what. I am well versed in drones, as I hold an amateur drone pilot certificate and have studied other craft, such as Starlink and amateur rocketry, and I can confirm it appeared to be none of the above. Next. Zanesville, Ohio, April 16th at 11:25 p.m. I was sitting in my car. I saw a fast-moving light out of the corner of my eye. I looked up to see the light. It hovered in a radius, moving in all 4 directions for about 45 minutes. All of a sudden, the light became intensely bright, so much so that it hurt my eyes to look at it. And then it was gone, completely gone. I didn't see anything fly or move away. It was a bright light and then gone. Alabaster, Alabama, April 25th at 10:25 p.m. It has a video. Hundreds of orbs spotted in my backyard, not drones or planes. They moved slowly and abruptly changed angles. I went outside to sit on my patio furniture at 10 p.m. Then at about 10:25, I did see an atmospheric flash in the sky all around my area. I noticed something in the corner of my eye to the right toward the north of my backyard. I started seeing what I thought were satellites flying in the sky, but they were not in a line like I usually see with Starlink. They were scattered in multiple directions. They were coming in 3 to 4 at a time, and they would start making formations like a triangle or scattering in a different direction and making odd maneuvers throughout the sky at low altitude. They shined very bright, almost like they were plasma balls cruising through the atmosphere. I checked my flight data radar, and there were no active flights at this time, and no meteor showers had been reported. During this time of me watching these orbs for 2 hours, I did see a military airplane that appeared. It was a KC-135 tanker. The orb appeared underneath the KC-135 as soon as the military plane had appeared, but I do not believe that the military plane had seen it, or it would have circled back around. I then discovered that the orb must have been about 5,000 to 8,000 feet above the air at the time, because it was significantly lower than the KC-135. The KC-135 on radar was flying at 30,000 feet. They were scattered in nature, but also appearing close together sometimes. At least 3 times we counted that they made a triangle in the sky, and it would disperse. We counted 70 total over 2 hours of watching them. They did not have any blinking lights. I did get some on video, but it was very dark and very blurry, and they were very faint dots in the sky. They weren't moving considerably fast. I usually watch satellites sometimes up in high altitude, and satellites move way faster than these. I did see these two lose altitude and drop toward the Earth's surface, but unsure if it landed or crashed. There was also an atmospheric dim flash observed all around us before the first orb was seen. It was unclear if the other orbs were coming off of one of the orbs, but it did seem as if one would be cruising in high and another would arrive out of nowhere right beside it and head in a different direction. I did try to capture videos several times, but they are very faint. I can only capture 2 or 3. There were plenty more. I wasn't going to report this, but my Claude AI felt that I should. I don't know. I'm just way out of touch. I don't know what Claude AI is. But it has a report from a second witness. I was sitting in my backyard with my mom and brother when we began to see white flashes in the sky. We thought it was lightning. We get a lot of storms in Alabama, but we checked our weather app after the sighting and the weather was clear. My mom started looking at the sky facing northwest, and she told us to come sit down. We saw a couple of white orbs that were parallel to each other. We thought they were drones, but we saw far too many. Every time they appeared, there would be a faint flash of white light in the sky. Some of them formed triangles and circled around each other. We have no explanation for what they are, and they were traveling northeast. The weather was fairly clear with minimal clouds. And there you go. That's all of the Appalachian UFO reports from April 2026. And just a little note. My little YouTube experiment failed. I was trying to get into the algorithm, like the guy on the one video suggested, that I upload one video every 2 or 3 days, and that would get me into the algorithm on YouTube. And I had high hopes. I thought that was going to work. Been doing it for like 3 months now, and I'm not in the algorithm. So I'm going to look into some other ways of trying to conquer that algorithm. And I probably won't be uploading like 4 or 5 videos a week like I have been. Just going to go back to the full episode format. It's much easier that way anyway. Maybe YouTube will catch up with us one of these days. Maybe not. Who knows? But thanks for listening. I appreciate you. I'll see you next time. God bless.